Boom. Welcome back. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is Own Your Gift Season 3, Episode 2. This is my legendary co-host, Joey Pollaro from New Jersey, USA. How you doing, brother?
Fantastic. This is always my favorite part of the week. I always say that because it's true. I'm excited to share with everybody, another success story of somebody overcoming the odds, and overcoming adversity and turning their life around. And we love that here on Own Your Gifts.
Absolutely, Joey. We're very lucky to have a special guest join us today, a young lady who recently celebrated 2 years clean. Guys, if you are joining us for the first time, this is Own Your Gifts. We love to showcase stories of triumph, people from recovery, what it was like, how they got here, and what it is like now. But if you're joining us for the first time, please drop your comments. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you are rejoining us, as usual, we've got a lot of people out there supporting us. We really appreciate you. Please also let us know where you're watching from. Let's bring Sammi onto the show before. Boom. Hey, Sammi.
Hey everyone.
Welcome, Sammi. How are you this morning?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. This is Joey. Let's say over the next 30 minutes, Sammi will pump this interview out. We want to hear a little bit about your lowest of lows and sort of how far you've come and to where you are now as well. It's 10 a.m. We're running a little bit early to our normal show. It's 10 a.m. here in Australia, but Joey's over in Jersey.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and
Yesterday.
We're behind you. We're chasing you. You're in the future. We're
talking,
still Thursday.
You're talking to the future, Joey.
Hey, man, this is the only time I get the time travel anymore.
Otherwise,
I get into trouble.
Cool.
But we do like to start off the show a certain way. Danny, if you don't mind. Let's do that. So what we do to start off the show is a little mini inventory, share, pay attention to and share what we did well today, and what we can aim to do better tomorrow. And I could start us off.
Kick us off, Joey.
I jumped on this show about 30 seconds before we're supposed to be live, and it's because as I was driving home, I did something that I do once in a while, and that's go on autopilot. And, before I knew it, I looked up and I was headed in the opposite direction of where I should have been going. And where this ties into what I've done well is usually if I fuck up really bad, I'm pretty practiced at, forgiving myself and being gentle with myself and giving myself permission to be human and moving on. But the little things like that, right? That is a classic opportunity for me to turn on myself and really get down on myself and beat myself up, both in my head, mostly the way I speak to myself. And I just kind of let it go and let it roll off my shoulder. And I was like, if I get there, I get there. If I don't, Danny and Sammi will turn it out. And so that's what I did well today. I let that something that would typically send me into a spiral of not being too kind to myself and let it roll off my shoulders. It sounds simple, but I guess for me, it's not that simple. And what I can do better tomorrow is, and this is a constant thing that I need to be working on, is, that being more trusting of people. My automatic settings are like to typically keep people at arm's length, that they're guilty until proven innocent. And, that served me really well when I was out there running around, on the streets and situations like that. But it doesn't serve me anymore. And I always need to be paying attention to the fact that I need to be more trusting and give people the benefit of the doubt. And people are innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. So that's what I'm going to aim to do better tomorrow.
A bit more trust, you reckon, Joey? Thanks so much for sharing, Joey. This is our little set. We love to do this. I love to take sort of a bit of an inventory on what's going on for me. The things I did well today and what I could work on tomorrow. I use this tool every single evening over the last 10 years. I do not go through the day without this, and it's so beneficial. It's a great way for me to check in with myself. And look, this morning I was up at 5 a.m., which is every Friday, and I was at. Thank God the fucking gyms are back open, and not only that, like I get to connect with this whole bunch of people outside of my regular people that I connect with. So it's so good to just to be connected so early in the morning, getting the endorphins pumping and knowing that I'm setting myself up for a good day. And something I could work on, and I've noticed this lately. I've been having a lot of early or long days, and people are saying to me of the evening, Danny, you look tired, and I hate that. Don't you hate it when people say you look tired? I do. I don't like it. But they're actually saying something else. You look something else. But anyway, I get offended when people say that. So I need to somehow get a little bit more better balance with that. So it's all good, but all good in the hood. Sammi, what about you? What have you done well within? It's only early for us, so it can be within the last 24 hours. And what could you possibly do a bit of work on?
Well, I've only just woken up like half an hour ago, so my day's only just begun. But in the last 24 hours, like yesterday, like last night, I went out and I went to a meeting, and there was this young bloke there, and he was like 20 years old, and his parents brought him to a meeting, and I just encouraged him so much to stay. Like I introduced him to like a lot of the men there and stuff like that, and I gave him so many words of encouragement. I just wanted to cuddle him, like I gave him the biggest hug, and I just wanted to like rescue him, but I know I can't do that, and I just encouraged him to keep coming, and like just gave him words of what life could be like. So I think, for me, helping a newcomer was a massive thing for me yesterday. Something that I'm going to work on today is, I just started a new job in customer service, and I get some people who are just really frustrating to deal with. And I had a man yesterday, and I had a bit of tone and delivery with him, and I just wanted to get him off the phone. And so today I'm going to really work on my tone and stuff like that, and try not to lose it at work.
Good on you, Sammi. Thanks so much. I love that you touched on that topic, and it's one of the biggest things that's helped me along in my recovery journey is giving back, like that stuff where we can sort of say hello to someone, welcome someone, be there for someone, just to listen maybe for a little bit. It's a really powerful tool to sort of, we ultimately, it helps us, but in the same time, you get to help them too. We've got a bunch of people joining us. Hey, Gabe, thanks for joining us again, brother. You wanted to know where he could connect with you. I don't believe Sammi is on LinkedIn yet, Gabe, but we'll get back to that information later. Joey, how does this show look, mate? We're at that point. What do we do now?
We get to hear Sammy's story. We'd like to, if you're open to it, I'd like for you to share with us, that moment, or perhaps it was longer than a moment, but that moment when you decided that you just can't go on another minute living the way that you were living. And, it began to, choose a different path for life. Can you share your dark moment of the soul with us and share how it is that, when you made that decision to make a change, what you did and what it's like now?
Cool. Like so basically for me, I think my rock bottom was sitting in jail. I'd been to court in it was 19th of January 2019, and I went to court, and I got a community corrections order, which is like a suspended sentence here in Australia, and I ended up walking out of cops, and detectives grabbed me, and they arrested me for different charges and stuff like that. And I remember sitting in Surrey Hills cells, and like people who aren't from Australia or Sydney, like this place is just like the worst possible place you can end up. It's like this massive cell, and it's like there's like feces on the wall. It's like disgusting. Like I wouldn't even put my dog down there. And I just remember sitting in there for 2 days. I was like 42 kilograms. I had a blonde mullet because I'd put like 6 blonde hair dyes in my hair because the police were questioning me about something, thinking, you know, I was so smart and they're not going to recognize it's me because I have blonde hair now. I thought I was so smart. You know, I remember sitting in those cells and just crying my eyes out for 2 days because, you know, I was going to jail for the first time. And, you know, like, I just didn't think that was ever going to happen, you know. I didn't think, you know, that I would ever go to jail. And, you know, and inevitably it did happen for me. Yeah, like I ended up spending, you know, 5 months in jail, and the whole time I was in there, I just wanted to fucking use, you know? Like, I didn't use while I was in there, but that was, like, what was on my mind the entire time I was in there. And, you know, I ended up getting on a program called Drug Court, and, you know, I ended up getting sent to my first rehab. And, you know, like, when people told me about what Drug Court was, like, people said, you know, it's a get out of jail free card, you know, you have like so many chances, you know, you can use on it and stuff like that. And I thought, you know what, like, that's fucking mad, you know, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna rot the system, you know, and I'm just gonna keep doing the shit I was always doing. And you know, I ended up getting sent to my first rehab, and, you know, that's where I started getting recovery, you know. But fuck, like, the whole time I was in there, you know, I just wanted to use, you know. I was trying to find excuses and reasons to get kicked out so I could use, you know. The whole time I was in there, I was planning a fucking relapse. And, you know, I was introduced to 12-step fellowship in that rehab, you know, and, you know, I'd go to meetings and I'd share and stuff like that, and I'd just tell you what you wanted to hear, you know. And, like, I remember people talking about, like, you know, how they had like 30 years clean. I said, no fucking way. Like, you must not have used like I fucking used. There's no way. Like, fuck, if you'd seen where I'd come from, there's no way anyone could get 30 years clean, 10 years clean, even a year clean. Like, I just didn't think that was an actual thing, you know? So, yeah, but fuck, like, my using was just fucked. Like, you
Thanks
know,
for
like,
that. Thanks for
yeah.
that reminder. Thanks for that reminder, Sammy, of the Surrey Hill cells. A couple of comments coming to that. Yeah, like, you really sort of took me back there. I remember in those early days struggling and being in those Surrey Hill cells, and you could get trapped there. I'm talking 20 years ago, but you could
Yeah.
get trapped there for weeks. While
Yeah.
the jail was too full, waiting for it, and you're praying, Chief, is there going to be a transit bus to Silverwater today? Yeah. Yeah, horrible stuff. And for me, I was always on the methadone in custody in those early days too. So you know, and they play God with that stuff too. So Sammy, would you say like that was one of that was one of your rock bottoms that sort of brought you to that idea that you're going to start to change your life?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, you know, because when I was using, like, I didn't want to stop, you know what I mean? I just wanted to keep fucking, like, doing crime, you know. I thought I was, like, so smart when I was using, you know. Like, I thought that, you know, like, I would, like, this is, like, the insanity, right? I would, like, because I did a lot of fraud when I was using, like, a lot of credit card fraud, and, like, I would, like, dress up in, like, disguises and stuff, and, like, you know, wear, like, wigs, and, like, I'd get, like, a fake tattoo sleeve and, like, fake glasses and stuff, and go and, like, take money out of the fucking ATM, and I'd go steal people's mail and, like, all that kind of stuff. And I just thought I was too smart for the system, you know, like, but clearly I wasn't, you know, like. And I remember one time it was like Christmas Eve, and I thought it would be a really fucking good idea to go and break into people's storage lockers, and it was like fucking a treasure hunt, you know. But that's what I eventually went to jail for, you know, those kinds of things. And you know, today I don't have to do that shit, you know, like, fuck, so much has changed in the last 2 years, you know.
Sorry, Sammy, I should have introduced that at the beginning of the show. It's such a huge victory too, and I can't, like, coming from that is that right? You just recently celebrated 2 years. Are you saying 2 years sobriety without a drink or a drug?
Correct. Yep.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Gee,
mate.
that's absolutely amazing. One of the things that we love to do on this show is sort of give people an opportunity to sort of showcase their triumphs, like we said. So
yeah,
wonderful, mate.
Like, the last 2 years, you know, like, fuck, like, I didn't think I would ever get clean, you know, like, I fucking, just thought I was going to be fucking using drugs until the day I died. And like one of my biggest beliefs when I came into recovery was that I'd wasted my life. I'm nearly 29, I'm still young. I got youth on my side, but I thought like I'd see people that I grew up with and stuff, and they would they like had families, they had fulfilling careers, and like I didn't have that, and I just felt like I'd just fucking been existing for fucking my entire young adulthood. But today, like, I was actually talking to a friend I went to high school with, and it's funny, like, I was saying, if we had a high school reunion, I'd probably be the most fucking interesting person there, like, because I've actually lived a life, even though it hasn't been exactly a great one. Like, I've actually had a chance to live and experience things that most people haven't. Like,
yeah, I missed that entire. I was saying to the boys, I've just come from work too, but I was just saying to the boys yesterday, I missed the entire youth period, from the age of say 16 to 33, when I was lucky enough to stop using the drugs. Like that was, and I really admire young people certainly who get clean and get to, or even remember some of that stuff. It's all a blur for me, so I think that's definitely something that you've got on your side.
100%. Like I've had to go through a lot while being in recovery. Like I remember being in rehab, and like one of the things I had to let go of in when I came into rehab was it's okay to hold people accountable. Like, coming from, a scene where, you don't tell on people, that was the fucking hardest thing I had to like overcome, like holding my friends accountable in rehab for like little things. Like I fucking struggled with that, but today, like, I want people to be able to hold me accountable for my shit, so because that's where I know I've got to work on stuff.
For sure. Joey, one of the things over here, I don't know what it's like. Joey's in New Jersey, USA, and we're Sammi and I, we're in amongst this community. It's pretty close knit community in Sydney, like our recovery community. There's hundreds and thousands, like there's hundreds of us out there killing it, doing so well too. But what Sammi just touched on is that one of those real rehab lingo things that they talk about, holding one another accountable in the early days. Is that big over there, Joey, in the States? Did you remember that when you were in
having somebody hold me accountable?
Yeah.
No, I avoid that at all costs. No. Yeah, I think it's super important. I always surrounded myself with people who told me what I wanted to hear, or that I can somehow manipulate. And I purposefully, when I got into recovery, I found out early on how important it was for me to surround myself with not only people who loved me and had my best interest in mind, but who were not scared to tell me what I didn't want to hear. So like, yeah, I think it's important that, and whenever we're trying to accomplish anything, having somebody to be accountable to always increases those chances dramatically.
It causes a lot of conflict too, but doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like that's where all the shit starts. Like, and it's like it's really fair enough considering where we come from, and then we get thrown in the middle, and we start all of a sudden. Don't have to change much. You just have to change everything, don't you? And like it's so much to take on and consider, and we're so blessed to, I guess, I don't know, making it one day at a time,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to mention real quick. There's somebody in the comments here, Darren Campbell.
Darren, yes, Darren.
Darren, thank you for being so vulnerable, and I could speak for myself and Danny, I think, and if you need anybody to talk to, don't hesitate to reach out to us, because it takes a lot of courage to say in a public forum that, hey, I'm fucking struggling right now, but I'm here. So we see you, and we're grateful that you're here to listen to our message today.
Yeah, welcome, mate. It's really good to have you here.
Cool. So Sammi, tell us, like, we've heard a little bit about your journey, and I love one of the things that you touched on as well is sort of how creative as addicts in addiction we are to become, to survive. Like we're absolute survivors. You are an absolute survivor, and I love, like, what it shows me and what it demonstrates is how Well, I'm a great manipulator, I can tell you that much. But we can get shit done, you know. But that also serves us. It can serve us in recovery, in building ourselves a life worth living. You know, we'd love to hear some of like what it's been like the last 2 years, how you got to where you are right now, and some of the things that are going on in your life now. You recently started some new employment too, is that right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So basically, you know what? I feel like my recovery journey has just been one of perseverance, you know, like no matter what, like I've just fucking continued to persevere. And, you know, like I've just learned over the last 2 years that, you know, at no point is anything worth me putting another drug in my system, you know, no matter what comes my way. Like, I know that, you know, using drugs is not an option for me anymore, and it's not going to help anything, you know, like I've learned that if I use, I'll feel relief for 2 seconds, and then all the shit will come with it. You know, I know that the minute I pick up drugs, I want to fucking do crime. The paranoia will come back, and I just keep that as a fucking a thing to keep me going every day. But you know what? Like, rehab was really fucking hard for me. Like, you know, all my behavior started coming out now that I was clean, and people were becoming aware of them. And, you know, I had to fucking make a change. You know, I lost my dad when I was in early recovery, and, you know, that's something I did not ever think I would ever be able to get through clean, but I fucking did. You know, all up, I think I did like 16 months in this one rehab, and I fucking needed to be there, you know. For a really long time, I had jail in the forefront of my mind because I'd never completed anything in my life, you know. I'd always fucked up all my bail conditions. I'd fucked up every single community corrections order I had, you know, and then I got to be able to complete drug court. I graduated, you know, and I remember I was at that graduation, and the 2 main staff members at the rehab I was at, they came and stuff, and, you know, like, I just remember feeling so free at that moment, you know, and I just felt like at that moment I could really start focusing on the life I could have and forget the life that I once lived, you know. You know, and I remember the magistrate saying to me at that graduation, he goes, you know, what you were doing was so sophisticated. I'm like, oh my God, I know. But no, like, I don't have to live that life anymore, you know. Like, I've accomplished so much in 2 years, you know. A big part of my using was not having stability. I didn't have anywhere to live, and you know what, today I have such a cute, like a nice little unit in Balmain, which is in like in Sydney, on the water. You know, it's like I have everything I need today. You know, I have a fucking really stable job for the first time in 10 years, which I love. Like, I work for a big supermarket chain in Australia, but not in the supermarket. I work in their head office and stuff. And, you know, like, who would have thought Sammi that did fraud would be working in people's customer details, like asking to verify people's customer information, taking payment over the phone. Like, who would have ever thought that was ever going to happen, you know? But I'm trustworthy today, you know. And also, I was thinking about it last night. You know, I'm very approachable today. Like, no one approached me when I was fucking using. Like, everyone just fucking steered clear of me. But, you know, people come up to me today, you know, people who are touring, like, here on a holiday, they come up to me and be like, oh, can you tell me where this is? Like, if I was using, that would have never happened. Like, people would probably think I was going to rob them or something, you know?
For sure. Isn't it surreal when, and I don't know if you remember this, Joey, too, but I remember, like, in my early days of recovery, on my way to work, let's say 6 a.m. on the train on my way to work, and it was like, fucking look at me, you know, like, it was such a surreal feeling. Like, it felt like the whole world was looking at me too, because, like, I'd never done that stuff before, and you just remind me of how surreal it is, and how I can hear how proud you are of yourself. To sorry, Joey, before you jump in, I just wanted to touch on something Lee said. Where did he say? Oh, I love this, mate. Lee, that's the goal, mate. But in any functional relationship, conflict is encouraged and resolved. Good work, Lee. Absolutely. And resilience from Jimmy. And thank you, everyone who's been jumping on and sharing your experiences with us. Sammi, like, sorry, Joey, do you want to jump in and say something? Sorry, mate.
Just that I can relate to everything that you're saying, and that I guess, you know, being 2 years clean and sober, I like to celebrate that, and it's a giant miracle for people who are living the way that you were living. And you know, a few things that you mentioned that you gained throughout your relatively short journey of recovery, and you know, some of those things are some of the most important values that we could have. And you said that you're approachable, that you're trustworthy, that you felt free, you know, freedom, that you were that you were honest, that you felt good about the life that you were living today. And you know, that's a beautiful thing. You know, I think, you know, my view of people who either wind up going down the path, choosing drugs and alcohol as their solution to life, or stumble on it, or however it is it happens. I believe that it's what we're treating with our addictive behaviors or substances is a spiritual sickness, you know, a hole in the soul. And my view on spirituality is that all spiritual work is a matter of shifting perspective, and the quickest, most effective way I know to shift my perspective is the practice of gratitude. And you shared some of that gratitude with us tonight, Sammi, and we always like to wrap up our show sharing something that we're grateful for today, and sharing you know, a tip, a tool, an exercise that somebody can implement in their life today to be able to generate and plug into the higher force of gratitude. And so did you want to say something else, Danny, or do you want to get right into the gratitude?
Yeah, cool. It feels like it's gone so quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has.
7:28.
And look, it's been 26 minutes, but one of the things we've tried to focus on this new season, I guess, Sammi, and we're sorry if we are cutting you short, is just trying to make it impactful, half an hour, giving some people some gold, you know. And what Joey just touched on then, at the end of the show, we find it's a great tool where we can just share maybe something that's really helped you along in your recovery, some tip, trick, or hack you could share with others around plugging into the higher forces of gratitude. No, but Joey, I haven't. I just one of the things I was going to ask just Sammi before we get to that was, like, how does the next couple of years look for you, Sammi? Like, and I guess this is one of my tips that I wanted to share today, but I always talk about dreaming big, you know. I know we're in a fellowship and we're told to keep it in the day too, but fuck, my entire recovery has been based around me dreaming and pursuing my goals too, you know. Like, that's sort of exactly what brings us here today, you know. So what's Lee said here? Sorry, no problem, Dave, I'll pay. Sure. Yeah, so tell me, like, how does the next couple of years look for you? Have you got any big ambitions?
Well, look, you know, like, I never really had like a dream career or something, but I think being in recovery, I've really realized what I want to do, and that's journalism. Like, I think I'd be a really good journalist. And you know, like, I'm gonna fucking, like, I enrolled in like a bachelor degree this year, but I've deferred it because, like, it's like my first year out of rehab, you know, so I've deferred that till next year and stuff. And you know, that's something I really want to pursue. But also travel, you know, like, I've never traveled, like, I've never been overseas, you know, I don't even have a passport, you know, like, that is my biggest plan for the next 3 years, you know, travel, see the world and stuff, you know, like, and that's something I really want to do, you know. And also, like, have a connection with my son, you know, like, I've never really had a connection with my son up until using, you know, he's 4 years old, and you know, I'm starting to have that connection with him and have that relationship with him, you know. That's what I really want to do, you know. And just fucking, my biggest tip to anyone is just fucking stay connected, you know. If you're fucking struggling, you fucking reach out, you know. Fuck, like, that's the biggest thing, you know. I've never felt so loved from being in recovery, you know. Like, I've never felt so welcomed into anything, you know, so it's great.
Stay connected. We often highlight that thing around, you know, addiction is the opposite or connection is the opposite to addiction, you know. And you kicked off the show, Sammi, talking about exactly that, how amazing your day was yesterday, supporting some new person that you met. And it goes back to exactly what you just said. It's a powerful, powerful tool Thanks, Sammy. Joey, what about you, mate? You got some gold for us around to plug in into the higher forces of gratitude, bro?
Sure. I was reminded today, and sometimes I forget to express my gratitude towards my body. My body that has carried whatever it is I dragged into this world in the way of stored emotion or trauma. And throughout the course of the early parts of my life, that I, not only abused myself in many ways, but were in a lot of situations. And my body, my body carried me. My body carried me for all that time. My body continues to carry me and rarely let me down. And I think a tool that I'm going to start practicing gratitude towards my body, and I could do that by being careful, how I speak to myself, being careful how I what I put into my body in the way of food, or ensuring that I get enough sunshine and rest and connect with other people, and sleep, obviously. So yeah, my tip is to express some gratitude, shift your perspective around, really thanking your body for taking you so far.
Absolutely, mate. Good
Love
stuff.
that.
Yeah, it's important to keep that in mind as well. I just want to go back to that dream big thing. I love that visualization. I don't know if you know about visualization. So I mean, there's one little TED talk that I watched from Mel Robbins around sort of like visualizing where I want to be in a few years' time, and revisiting that stuff daily, and imagine being there and shaking hands and saying hello. Imagine what it feels like. You touched on travel. One of the things I've been really blessed this recovery is to travel the world. And you made the best point around get your passport, Sammy. Get it like now. Fucking apply. What are you waiting for? Like you need to have it. Because the minute they open those borders, I'll be on my way hopefully to Jersey, Joey? But yeah, I say dream big. That's my tip. I think when we dream big and we pursue our goals around that stuff, it's it's good for my spirit. All right, mate. We've had a great show. Thank you, everyone, for jumping on. Thanks for all the comments. I'll give a shout out to Lee again. Thank you so much, Darren, Seamus. You're a legend. Jimmy James, we appreciate you. Jess, thanks for joining us. Lisa, also Gabe. It's a pleasure to have you on the show again, Gabe. We appreciate your support and encouragement. Was there anything you wanted to cover before we leave, Sammy?
No, thanks for having me. It was so good.
Welcome. Yeah, no, it was very cool. Sammy, stay with us for a sec. Joey, you got any last?
No, I just want to thank Sammi for showing up and being vulnerable with us and telling her truth, and sharing with everybody here that if that you can turn your life around. You're doing it. So we're proud of you. Keep going. We only get one step ahead of that drink or drug, and so consistency is the most important thing when it comes to recovery.
100%.
Absolutely. Sammy, stay with us for a sec. We'll end the broadcast. Thank you, guys. Thanks for
everyone.
the comments.
Thank you, everybody.
See you next week.